Hi everyone, this is Roger. I'm Roger, team leader for week 6. So this is our agenda for week 6.
Okay, I will be discussing the importance of firewalls and the configurations as well as the state of firewalls. I'll be covering topics 1 through 3.
Hi, I'm Arias, and I'm doing the types of firewalls and their implementations in network security.
Hi, I'm Rainey. I'll be going over the VPN config and firewall troubleshooting slides 7 through 9.
And I'm Roger. I'll be going over the firewall rules, conjunctions, and inspections, slides 10 to 12.
Hi, I'm Shireen, and I'll be going over asymmetric routing, SSL, and TLS, as well as IPsec.
Hey, I'm Jaden, and I'll be going with monitoring, logging, latency minimization, and teamwork with questions 14, 19, and 29.
So this is our lab overview. We were going over Fortigate, virtual firewalls, to manage packets, routes, and policy.
Okay, I'll be discussing what a firewall is. So what is a firewall? It is basically a security system that monitors and controls the traffic coming in and out of your network, and it acts like a protective barrier. So when you think of a firewall, you can think of something like a security guard for your computer. It basically monitors it and controls the incoming and outgoing traffic based on the predetermined security rules. So you know that when you utilize different systems, there's different firewalls, and the importance of it is just to help protect your network from malicious and harmful intent. Next, I'll be discussing firewall states. There's stateful and stateless. Now with stateful, it keeps track of the state of active connections and it remembers past interactions to allow you to make more informed decisions about whether you want to allow or block traffic. And with stateless, it doesn't consider the state of the connection. So when you think of firewalls and how it checks the data packets individually, it doesn't remember the packets. Lastly, I'll discuss the firewall configurations. There's 3 processes. The process of setting up consists of rules, policies, and tests. So with these configurations, you kind of want to make sure that the outgoing network traffic has security requirements and it defines the rules, tailors the firewall behavior, and matches the security needs.
Hi, I'm going to be talking about the different types of firewalls. The first one being the packet filter firewall, best used for examining packets at a basic level and limited in scope, though it is often used as a first layer of defense. The second one is going to be stateful inspection firewalls. They're great for monitoring active connections and tracking packets within sessions. It's great for packet filtering by considering traffic and commonly used in corporate networks where session tracking provides better security. 3. Proxy firewalls, or application-level gateways. They're best used as intermediaries or intercepting traffic at the application layer. They provide deep inspection by analyzing the application data, though it tends to be slower because they require data processing at the application layer. Best used for high security environments. The next one is going to be next generation firewalls, which best used for enterprise networks where they have advanced threat detection and need more control for traffic. Alright, and this is how you implement network address translation on a firewall, which is basically configuring it to change the private IP to a public IP. So when you are doing that in the settings, you're going to want to specify which are the internal versus the external. And then from there, you're going to set up the internal addresses to translate for outgoing traffic, and then specify which is going to be the incoming. And then for static NAT, you're going to use one-to-one mapping, and dynamic NAT, you're going to define the public pool of IP to share among the devices. Okay. All right, and so a DMZ, or a demilitarized zone in network security, is basically a firewall that sits between the internal and the external, so it is more protected in the sense of if they are attacked. So the first firewall separates the DMZ from an untrusted external network, which then allows specific traffic to reach the servers on the DMZ, and then the second firewall separates the DMZ from the internal network, which makes stricter controls for the internal network.
So what is a VPN and how do you configure on the firewall. A virtual private network, also known as a VPN, is basically a tool that keeps your online activities private and secure. So you can utilize a VPN and it helps you do these things that I have here on the screen, such as hide your IP address, encrypt data, accessing restricted content, connecting to company network. And I'm just going to go over just a couple of them in detail. So for instance, if you're connecting to a company network, you could possibly be working remotely. The VPN will allow you to safely access your company network from anywhere that you're working. For instance, if you're in another state or if you're traveling, you can use your VPN to access company network. Encrypting data will also allow you to scramble your information so that others can't read it, especially when you're using public Wi-Fi. Just another example on how the VPN will help you read data. And next, I'll just discuss the steps to configure a VPN on a firewall. This one is pretty straightforward. So you're going to choose a VPN type, or also known as a protocol. Second, you'll access the firewall management interface. Third, create a VPN policy or profile. Fourth, configure firewall rules. 5, configure user authentication. This step can be optional. You don't have to do it if it's not needed. Step 6, set up a dynamic DNS. 7, apply and save the configuration, and then you just want to test the VPN connection just to make sure everything works as smoothly as it should. How do you troubleshoot a firewall that is not passing traffic as expected? So troubleshooting a firewall can involve several steps to identify and resolve most issues related to a firewall not passing traffic as expected. Here I have a few steps on the screen that you can do when you are troubleshooting. So one of them are checking the physical connection. So this step here, you're just going to ensure all the cables are connected properly and the firewall is powered on, as well as verifying all network devices are functioning properly. Another step that you can do is ensure proper routing. You can ensure that the routing is correctly set up. The firewall needs to know where to send traffic based on the destination IP addresses. Another one that you can take a look at is to update the firmware if needed. That one's pretty self-explanatory. Another one that I could probably go into detail is checking the security policies for overly restrictive settings. Here you just want to review any security policies like IPS systems that might block or inspect traffic excessively. Lastly, if you are still having some trouble, you want to seek help from documentation or contact the support team for further instructions. Now I'm going to be discussing if a user reports that they can't access a specific website, how would you determine if the firewall is the cause? There's a few steps you can do to determine this. I'm just going to go through this list here and then go over a few examples of each one. So the first step is going to be to verify the user setup, test connectivity, ping the website, check firewall logs, review firewall rules, test from another network, examine DNS configuration, check for network outages, temporarily bypass the firewall, contact support, or use online tools. So for example, if you're testing connectivity, you can ping the website by using the command line or terminal to ping the website or run a trace route. If you're checking the firewall logs, you can access the firewall logs and look up for any entries related to the user's IP address or the website domain. If you're testing from another network, you can have the user try accessing the website from a different network. For example, mobile data, for example, if they're accessing the website from like their mobile device or something. You can also see if the issue is specific to the current network as well. Lastly, if none of these steps work, contact the firewall vendor for further support.
Okay, so how do you differentiate between inbound and outbound rules in a firewall? The inbound controls the traffic that comes into the network, and outbound controls the traffic that goes out of the network. ROTS, IDS/IPS in conjunction with firewalls. Basically, it upgrades the network defense for cyber attacks with different defense mechanisms for different security plans. How do they complement each other? They complement each other by detection versus prevention, defense in depth, and real-time response.
All right. So what is IDS, IPS, Roger?
Intrusion detection system. Hold on.
And what about IPS?
Intrusion protection system.
All right. Cool. All right. Let's go to the next one.
Deep packet inspection. Deep packets monitors and correct data packets in the network. The firewalls become better and enhanced for more efficiency by detecting and monitoring threats and security policies.
Hi, so now I will go over asymmetric routing in a firewall environment. Asymmetric routing can confuse firewalls because sometimes it will use different paths and then the firewall is confused. There are few ways to handle asymmetric routing. Number one, enable asymmetric routing features on the firewall. Number two, use session synchronization, where we will make the firewall and the asymmetric routing in sync. Number three, adjust network design. Number four, configure routing rules. And five, use the load balancing appliances. That's it. Okay, and next I will go over secure socket layer and transport layer security. Both of them, they will encrypt data to secure the online transmission. SSL is the older version, and of course TLS is the newer. Right now, for reliability, TLS is used more because it's more secure. It will secure the connection better. When we consider TLS with firewall security, it will make things a little bit hard for firewalls because basically TLS will scramble data to protect the privacy, and then it will be hard for firewall to scan it, rescramble it, and then scan it again, and then scramble it again. All right, next I'm going over IPsec and how it's used in securing communication. So for IPsec, usually it will create a tunnel. So if we look at the diagram that I have on the slide, we have network 1 and network 2. They are communicating to each other through the IPsec tunnel. IPsec tunnel is cool because it will encrypt, authenticate, and will ensure integrity of data.
All right. Thank you, Shireen. I'll be going to my part. And my part, this one will be logging and monitoring practices for firewall environments. So basically, in logging and monitoring and firewall, there's a lot of practices, good ones at that. But the most common practice is basically the Security Information and Event Management System, or as you may call it, CM. Ooh, that was last week. CM systems has a lot of features which uses the same good practices for the firewall logging and monitoring, like log analysis and alerts, so it can go through logs and alert you of any suspicious activity. It's incident management, as said last week, where I mentioned how there's basically steps to isolate and destroy a cyber infiltrator, of course, and there's real-time reporting. So basically, the CM is gonna look through the logs at real time and see like, oh, this happens right now. I'm gonna alert this. There's compliance considerations, which will be, of course, security compliance policies, and there's a lot more a CM can do, but that's pretty much one of the practices, and it does a lot of things. As you can see here, the CM basically puts everything together in one single tool, which is really useful. After this, there's bound to be a lot of latency, lag, and all that when using a firewall, which is why we have to go through latency minimization strategies. And there are like several strategies. Some can be caching, some can be rule configuration, some can be traffic control, some can be load balancing, and some can be patch management. Caching is basically storing data and make it easier for the firewall to use. Rule configuration is changing policies and rules within your firewall, so you have traffic. It basically goes together with traffic control. It helps with traffic flow and keeping everything together. There's load balancing. Okay, so basically bouncing traffic across multiple firewalls. That's if you have multiple firewalls. You just basically bounce it out to help distribute the workload. patch management is self-explanatory. You update your firewall, update everything, so it'll be less lagging. Because when I had a old software, everything was so laggy. So you gotta do some patch management for that. So yeah. All right, and last, so basically, even though we have all the technical stuff, there's bound to be like some disagreements or some controversies within the team, which is why we have to go talk about teamwork. Teamwork, how do you handle conflicts within a team, especially when it comes to security policy disagreements? So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there's bound to be skepticism or disagreements amongst the team members, because there's people who believe in one side that should be working and the other one would believe this side and how it should work. But because there's a divide, there's gonna be a lot of conflict, and we do not want that when working together as a security team. So in order to resolve and handle these types of conflicts, you have to encourage open communication and active listening. So basically, you want people to communicate. You cannot just have someone like talking all the time and the other one just staying silent, not having a chance to speak. That relates to creating a friendly atmosphere. You want people to feel comfortable with speaking their mind, speaking their opinion on what should be going, what should be done. It helps make, as right here, helps people feel comfortable with their role in the team. When having a security team, you can't just leave someone as an outcast. You want people to be involved in everything. And as you have people involved in everything, you need to focus on a shared goal and identify a common ground. So basically, you want people to have the same view on a security policy. You can't have like someone saying this cannot be right. I want this one. This one looks more right. You want everyone to be on the same side. Everyone to agree with everything. Well, everyone to agree with the same thing. And even though you resolve all this conflict, you still have to abide with the standards given to you and the practices. So yeah, all of this helps promote teamwork and helps get the security team be efficient and perform really well. All right, so that's mine. We're gonna have Rini read the conclusion for us.
All right, so for our conclusion, after completing this project, we found that firewalls are essential for blocking unauthorized access and protecting your network, and proper configuration ensures that they effectively filter traffic and prevent security breaches. NAT was originally developed as a quick fix to address the shortage of IP4 addresses in the 1990s. By monitoring and controlling incoming and outgoing traffic, firewalls help prevent attacks, ensuring that only trusted sources can access network resources. Firewall rules and exceptions is vital for safeguarding networks, ensuring compliance with security standards. Asymmetric routing could be confusing to firewalls, but there are strategies to help firewalls effectively manage and secure data traffic. Firewalls can also use tools like SIEM to log and monitor the firewall environment and use those tools to improve its performance, like minimizing latency.
So basically, that's our conclusion, a summary of all the topics we went through earlier. And I would like to say thank you for. All right, team leader, you go with this one.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right, that was week 6. Our hardest difficulty, hardest grading thing, whatever. What's up, Rainy? You raised that hand.
My bad, I was trying to clap for the team.
Yeah, well, pretty much it. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Odie, please forgive us.